welcome. Happy Monday, folks. It is I, your host, Captain Boring. This is your 10-minute sports report. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share these 10-minute sports reports if you like them. If you don't, then why are you listening? I don't know. I am your host, as I said, Captain Boring. Thank you for listening. Today is Monday, the 23rd of May. I'm going to get you caught up on everything that happened over the weekend. I'm going to butcher some hockey names, and then I'm going to get you caught up on all things sports. So let's just not dilly-dally, and let's jump right in. Stop me if you've heard this one before. The Miami Heat erased a double-digit fourth-quarter deficit against the Boston Celtics on Friday night. It was game 2, and they win that game versus the Celtics 111-105. Jimmy Butler, again, he's just outstanding at this point in time. There's not much else to say. He had 27 points. He was huge in the second half of this ball game. Jason Tatum did have 34 points and 13 rebounds and 8 assists. However, it was not enough as the Miami Heat go up 2-0. On Saturday, the Denver Nuggets went up 3-0 against the Los Angeles Lakers. Jamal Murray was outstanding. He had 30 first-half points to lead all scores in the first half. He ended up with 37, which led all scores. Nikola Jokic had 24, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Michael Porter Jr. was huge off the bench, hitting 4 threes. He started the game. Bruce Brown came off the bench and had 15 himself. But Jamal Murray is much like Jimmy Butler. Whenever the playoffs are on, for whatever reason, he turns into the best player in basketball. Now, he's still worse than Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler's like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan in the playoffs. If you don't know who those players are, you should probably go look them up because that's important to, sports. As I was saying, Anthony Davis had a monster game. 28 points, 18 rebounds. LeBron James did have 12 assists and 23 points. He finally hit a 3-point shot in the series, his first of the series, and it came in the fourth quarter. However, the Lakers were down double digits, rallied to take a 6-point lead, and then lost it. And the Denver Nuggets are on the verge of a sweep of the Los Angeles Lakers, up 3-0 after a 119-108 win. Speaking of on the verge of a 4-game sweep, the Miami Heat then Sunday, this would be yesterday, as today is Monday, routed the Boston Celtics 128-102. Jason Tatum had 14 points. Jaylen Brown had 12 points. One played 28 minutes. Tatum only played 33. They shot an abysmal 26% from 3 and only 40% from the field. Meanwhile, let's flip it over. The Miami Heat were just lights out. Gabe Vincent, who is a starter, but again, as I said in my last sports report, is a bench player playing as a starter because of the injuries, had 29. He hit 6 threes. Duncan Robinson hit 5 threes off the bench. Caleb Martin hit 4 threes off the bench. The Miami Heat shot 57% from the field and 54% from 3. They have the Boston Celtics on the verge of a sweep in the Eastern Conference Finals. This Miami Heat team might be the best 8th seed ever in the history of the NBA. Tonight, Monday, May 22nd, the Los Angeles Lakers are trying to stave off elimination. That is what they're being preached by head coach Darvin Ham. It ain't over until one team gets to 4 wins, and all you got to do is win the next one. So they are at home tonight. LeBron James will try to not be swept in the Western Conference for the first time in his career. He was swept as part of the Eastern Conference, but that's many moons ago. So can he get it done? Can Anthony Davis show up? This series has been really close between the Nuggets and Lakers. The series that hasn't been close is the Celtics and the Heat. Let's switch over to some hockey. So on Friday, the Golden Knights win in overtime by a final score of 4-3. Brett Howden scored in overtime with 1:59 left, so they escaped what was the longest game, one of the longest games in overtime history in the NHL. By Brett Howden kind of saved them from that. They win 4-3. They went up on Friday 1-0 in that series. South Beach is just absolutely lit right now because the Florida Panthers win yet another playoff overtime game. Matthew Tkachuk, and I did look it up, and that is how you say it, finished off a second straight overtime win. So he scored the first overtime or the overtime goal in game one that went 4 overtimes. He also scored an overtime goal in a previous series. That gives him 3 overtime game winners in one postseason. The Florida Panthers, off of the stick of Matthew Tkachuk, win a second straight overtime game. They lead the Hurricanes 2-0, and another 8th seed has a dominant advantage over a superior seeded team. South Beach is just absolutely lit on sports and probably cocaine. Deja vu. Another overtime game. Sunday, the Vegas Golden Knights take a 2-0 series lead in an overtime winner again. This time, it was Chandler Stevenson. Got that name right, too. I'm 2 for 2 in this episode of the 10-Minute Sports Report. He was sent to the penalty box twice, but then he rebounded with his coach and then scored the overtime win. So Vegas is up 2-0. Florida is up 2-0. Let's see what's coming at you Monday. Monday is game 3. Panthers, home court. They win 2 on the road. They have home court ice, whatever you want to call it. Can Matthew Tkachuk come through again? Listen, that's the only Florida Panther name I know, so that's the one I'm going to say from now on. They look to take a dominant 3-0 lead. Meanwhile, the Hurricane, you win game 3, you're only down 2-1. Everything is right in front of you. Let's look around in other sports news away from the playoffs of the ice and the hard court. The NFL owners approved an emergency third quarterback. Let's just call this the San Francisco 49er rule. So in the NFC Championship game, the San Francisco 49ers were starting their third string quarterback who, because their first 2 got hurt during the season. They started Brock Purdy. He did an amazing job. He got hurt in that game. So the backup for that game, who ended up being their 4th string quarterback, came in. He also got hurt from that game, and then they had to play with a running back, and Brock Purdy was trying to throw, except he had no ligament in his elbow. It was ruptured, and so it was a whole big mess. It wasn't even a ball game. So this will allow an NFL team to activate one of their quarterbacks to be an emergency quarterback. He is not allowed to enter the game unless if the first 2 cannot return for the game. If he enters the game and then it is determined that one of the first 2 can return to the game, he would then have to be subbed out and he's allowed to return to the game if another injury were to occur. So the San Francisco 49ers, in this scenario, if this was retroactive, would have had what would have been a 5th string, but in this case, a 3rd string on game day in order to take the field. And why you're probably losing that game 9 out of 10 times, it's still better than having a running back there. Back to basketball, a future Hall of Famer has retired. Carmelo Anthony, who came into the league the same year as LeBron James, has announced his retirement. He led Syracuse to an NCAA championship. Then he was drafted by the Nuggets, spent many years there before being traded to the Knicks, before spending the second half of his career there, and then kind of bounced around the league. He retires as the number 9 scorer in league history, so he's definitely going to the Hall of Fame. Only LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk Nowitzki, Wilt Chamberlain, and Shaquille O'Neal all scored more points. He finishes with 28,289 points. He said in a Twitter post, "Now the time has come for me to say goodbye to the game that gave me purpose and pride." He called this one bittersweet. He is a 10-time All-Star and a past scoring champion and a 6-time All-NBA selection. He never made the finals, but he did make the Western Conference Finals in 2009 when he was part of the Denver Nuggets, and they would eventually lose to the Los Angeles Lakers, who were champions that year. A quick check on the Pirates before I wrap this thing up. The Pirates over the weekend beat the Diamondbacks 13-3, then back-to-back losses 4-3 and 8-3 respectively against the Diamondbacks. They are on a 2-game losing streak, but the Milwaukee Brewers didn't fare much better, so they only sit 1 game out of first place in the NL Central. They are 1 game behind Milwaukee, and if I can just steal 30 seconds more of your time, in the wild card, they would make the playoffs as of today. So, come back tomorrow for more Pittsburgh Pirates news as well as other Pirates news. That'll do it for today's rendition of the 10-Minute Sports Report. Thank you. I'm at 12 minutes here. Thank you for sticking with me, being patient. Matthew Kachuk and something Stevenson. I don't remember his first name. I'll see you tomorrow. Wash your hands, you filthy animals. God bless you. Peace out.